All right, people. I've been trying to educate the West about this particular cult, religion, ideology, whatever you want to call it, for almost a decade now. But I'm not the only one. Some other people have been doing that too, namely Tommy Robinson and Lauren Southern. I don't know what happened to her. I think she had a little affair with Andrew Tate or something, and then she had to go at Tommy Robinson. I don't know the details, irrelevant. But this video is from nearly 8 years ago when Lauren Southern was trying to expose the dangers of Islamism, but nobody paid attention. And people like Lauren and Tommy Robinson were vilified for simply showing you the face of Islam. These were not conspiracy theories. They were just showing you, look what they are, look what they're doing, look how they're taking over parts of Western cities. But nobody paid attention. And I guess you can't really blame anyone because that's how humanity works, especially individualistic societies like Western society. You can't expect a corporate person or person who's minding his own business, who's paying his bills, he's got a job in an office. He's not going to. There's no incentive for him to rise up and start speaking against Islam or Islamism. Yeah, they can see some occasional terrorist attacks, lyric bees murder, and all these kind of social problems. They could see that Tower Hamlets is no longer exclusive. It's no longer a diverse town. It's predominantly Bangladeshi. But I want to maintain my job. I want to keep paying my bills. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. So people look the other way. But all these people who were warning you about the dangers of Islamism, who were ignored and even vilified, attacked, mocked, they were right. And 10 years, 15 years later, 10 years later, whatever we were warning you about has come true purely because we were in that. So we shouldn't really be angry with the masses for not paying any attention because that's how societies evolve. Better late than never. So have a look at this. Have a look at this. So do not let them gaslight you or guilt trip you into believing that they are victims. They're not the victims. They've been behaving like brutish thugs for a very long time.
Hey there. Okay, so I came out to Whitechapel in London to do some interviews in the area because it's a very multicultural area, and we wanted to ask people what they thought the British culture was. Thought it would be an interesting.
They're not. These places are not multicultural. These places are very homogenous. They're very monoculturalist. This film was 8 years ago, so 2018. I actually stayed in Whitechapel in 2017. I didn't know much about it at that time. I just went through Airbnb or bookings.com or whatever it was. I think it was Airbnb. And I looked at the cheapest place, which was not very cheap by Australian standards. It looked new. It was new. So later on, I found out that quality is a big issue in England. Australia being a nanny state, even if you go for a 3-star motel or hotel, you're not going to get really dirty bed sheets or dirty mattresses or holes in the walls of your room. We have certain standards. So that's what I was used to. So anyway, so I got that and then I was like, oh my God, it is an absolute dump. That was the first time when I saw, oh, that's what they mean by multiculturalism. Because in Australia, we had a right flavor of multiculturalism, except for Bankstown and Lakemba and maybe Fawkner or some parts of 2 or 3, 4 suburbs in Australia. Actually, Footscray used to be different. And Sandown Park, Noble Park in Melbourne, they're more Sudanese. But none of these suburbs were overwhelmed by foreign cultures. You could see their presence, but they were not overwhelmed. Whitechapel was overwhelmed. I was like, oh. And I noticed it was dirty. I'll go to central London or I'll go to white areas of London or even countryside England. They'll be pristine, clean, smiling faces. You go to East London. So anyway, so it's not multicultural, very monocultural.
To do that. Because we were outside the mosque, we started having a guy follow us around with his cell phone and come up to us and basically say, like, you're not allowed to film here, which we perfectly are allowed to film here. It's a public street. The imam himself ended up calling the police on us for just interviewing people outside. We weren't harassing anyone. We weren't forcing them to do interviews. We were keeping the camera down, and the police came up to us and they had a million questions about what's your report
Sikh police officer. Again, he's doing his job.
About? Who do you work for? What questions are you asking like that's somehow relevant to what we're doing? And they're just waiting there. They're just waiting there in their police car as we stand here and ask people perfectly safe questions like, what does it mean to be British?
Imagine that. Guys, imagine that. How much ground had we lost? And I mean, by as we, as I mean, how Western society, some basic tenets of Western society, some fundamental values like free speech. There is no abuse. There is no vilification. These are basic, normal questions. What does it mean to be an Australian? That's it. What does it mean? You can answer that, in your view, Australia has a modern multicultural identity where it's no longer limited to white Australia or people of British or Anglo Australians of British heritage. It's no longer just that. Muslims are equally Australians. You can hold those views. You could say that, but because we know that it's absurd, that's why they don't want to answer that. And instead of answering the question, they want to challenge you. Somewhere along the way, we thought that this is the new norm. You're not allowed to ask these questions. Again, this video is 10 years old, and now you see where we are. At that point, white people didn't pay much attention. They didn't care.
The police car is just sitting there, and they're just waiting for us to get out of here. Well, in your opinion, what do you think it means to be British?
To have the British passport, maybe.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you think it's just to have a British passport?
Yeah, I think, to be born here, yeah.
Think there's any like cultural aspects to being British?
No, because it's a multicultural country anyway. So you
See that? They have a cheat code. It's multicultural. We're allowed to be who we are. Let me play this video to you again because I have to. I'm gonna name and shame this horrible Home Affairs minister called Tony Burks. Look at him. They sold the idea of multiculturalism as they will integrate and assimilate, and over multiple generations, they will become indistinguishable from the original natives of the native society. Look at him. Now they're changing the tune. They're like, oh, well, we failed. They can't assimilate. So move to plan B, which is they don't have to assimilate.
The concept of immigration is people, when they come to Australia, want to be part of Australia. That's what people want.
No, they just want the Australian passport. That's it. They want the Australian passport, and we're giving it. It used to mean something. I remember I moved to Australia in 2003. I got my Australian passport in 2008. I was so stressed out that my permanent residence application might not get approved. I graduated and I applied, just like normal person. I was an international student, and I know a lot of people are now questioning that international students just come here. They're not interested in. For example, I graduated in IT. I never worked a day in IT. So even though IT was needed, I didn't do it. And you could say that I use it, but again, I wanted to be part of Australia. I did. So it used to mean something to be a citizen of Australia. Now they're just handing it out willy-nilly. It's like this. It's like a rich man in a strip club like this. Look at it.
And I've never accepted the word assimilation. I don't want people to lose who they are. The word integration is one that's been used as part of a multicultural dialogue for a very long time. And that's what it is. Like we want people for who they are. I've never subscribed to that sort of melting pot concept that your whole identity is meant to be dissolved.
See how they changed their tune? That's it. That's why they were put under no pressure to integrate, to assimilate. Integrate, yeah, they integrated really well in our economic system, in our welfare, into Centrelink and whatever the equivalent of your welfare payments is in the UK and America. That's it. Look at this. So you can't really blame them. This is how humans behave. This is why we need to change the culture. You need to be brutal in the imposition of Western values. Brutal. By brutal, I mean no apologies, okay? Sorry, no halal slaughter. I don't like it. I don't like it. Go. Fit in or boot out.
To be a specific culture, to be a British, you can be a British and anything else.
It's furries outside a mosque.
Oh, look at them. What do they call them? People who dress as animals? They're called something. I forgot.
What does it mean to be British? I think, for me anyway, British is being multicultural, a society which is multicultural, accepting people of different beliefs, different backgrounds, Modern day British.
Yet Muslims don't do that. They have a problem with Hindus and Sikhs and definitely white people. Do you think this is dishonesty on their part, or it's just? I say these are beliefs of convenience. So they would love multiculturalism as long as it supports them. But you ask him, oh, accept everyone. Then do you accept homosexuals? No, they don't. Look at this. 5 Pillars just conducted. 5 Pillars, Britain's most favorite Islamist propaganda outlet. Look what they said. They asked a question to their people: Do 5 Pillars readers support London Mayor Sadiq Khan promoting LGBTQ and alcohol? This is what the mayor of London had just said. This Pride Month, London stands with our LGBTQI plus communities here and around the world. I look forward to seeing hundreds of thousands of Londoners and visitors taking to our streets in celebration and solidarity for Pride in London on Saturday. Now, look at the question. Look at the question. We asked our audience if it was understandable, not that it's okay for a Muslim to have that belief, if it's understandable, because, you know, he's a mayor of London. He can't really come out as an Islamist or a jihadi. So if it is understandable for Sadiq Khan to promote LGBTQ and alcohol given his position on London as London mayor serving all communities. Based on 960 responses, an overwhelming 95% said no. So they're not saying that he should hold these, you know, he can hold anti-LGBTQ views personally, but because he's a London mayor, that's why he has to cater to that side as well. No, they're saying no, even in that case, even as a mayor of one of the most multicultural cities in the world, even then it's not okay to promote LGBTQ. These are the views of Muslims, British Muslims. Yet here, accept everyone. So I don't know if it's cognitive dissonance or dishonesty, or it's just lack of understanding. I don't know what it is, or hypocrisy. Could be anything. Either way, it is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. It is not in line with Western values. Your idea of running a society misaligns with with the overwhelming majority of Britain. Therefore, we're going to be hostile. We're going to be brutal in imposing our set of values.
Is not what it was 300 years ago, where it had its own unique cultures, and but now it's a mix of cultures. Does that make sense? Right. Its food had to become mixed. Its dress sense has become mixed because we take the best from the world. That's what British is.
Do you take LGBT? She should have. I don't know if she asked other questions. There you go.
Good thing or a bad thing that kind of the idea of being British doesn't have a cultural aspect to it anymore?
I think it's good. All successful countries are multicultural. I think multicultural is a good thing. That's what makes a country successful.
Do you think that there is...
Well, she should have asked them. I hope she asked them other follow-up question. What about Pakistan? Should Pakistan become multicultural? Should it become Hindu? Should we have an explosion of Hindus and Sikhs and Christians and atheists? Yeah? No. That multiculturalism rule doesn't apply on our countries.
A kind of core, like, British culture that's distinct from the multiculturalism, or do you think there is just multiculturalism?
It's just multiculturalism. I don't think there's a specific way, specific culture that is part of British. I think
what a beautiful accent on some of these people. I think they should be just grateful for having this accent that's been made possible because of them living in England.
Being British is embracing all these different cultural differences.
Oh yeah, he's making a call. Wonderful. Yeah, he's literally like peeking around the corner. It is a public pathway.
There is a semi-naked hot blonde woman walking around, ladies and gentlemen, and she is tempting our beautiful young men, and they may lose their control, and if something happens that we're not responsible. Okay, we're warning you now. She should be in a burqa or something. If something happens to her, I hope nothing happens, but if something happens to her, then, you know, we ain't responsible.
You can't be doing it in front of the mosque.
But it's a public pathway.
So you're going to keep doing it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm perfectly allowed to be filming there, yes.
That's no problem.
Do you plan on doing something about it? So you plan on keep doing it. I'm going to make a call. All right. Some girls taking photos of me over there. Okay.
British means you are permanent and you are resident of this country.
British culture means...
Can't even speak. This is a joke. It was always going to happen with woke policies. This was always going to happen. This guy doesn't know anything about Britain or British history. I know a lot more about British history, and I wouldn't even dare to call myself British unless I lived there for 10, 15 years, studied Britain. This is why I actually don't even call myself Australian. Sometimes I feel guilty. I'm like, you know what? I've lived most of my life in Australia. I have a fairly good understanding of Australian culture, Australian values, fair income. But I still feel a little odd because I wasn't born here. But look at them. Ask this guy. He'll tell you he's British.
Be multicultural. Would you agree with that?
That's of course is 100%. Yeah.
100%.
So how do we distinct British culture? Do you think there's a unique British culture, or is it just multiculturalism?
Is a multiculture. Multiculture.
British means having value, dignity, and respect. You know, everybody respect each other, and that's what London is.
Do you respect gay people?
Yeah.
Now, like,
Do you respect blasphemers? No, not them.
for example, I'm not allowed to enter this building here because I'm a woman. Do you find that tolerant or no?
Well, you have to put scarf over your head or something, and then you can go in. I'm sure there are women that can go in there. Yes, there
Actually,
are.
no. In most mosques you can't, but some Western mosques you can. But you sit at the back. Men sit at the front, and women sit at the back, and usually, yeah.
A lot of religious places, particularly in Muslim religious, that you cannot do. There's some segregation.
Yeah, so meaning Muslims are not tolerant. That's what you're trying to say. That was a perfect soundbite moment there.
Do you consider yourself British?
Yeah, I'm British. Yeah, I got British passport. Yes, all right, no problem.
Do you think that
Of course he does.
to be British, you have to have certain cultural values, speak a certain
Everything
language?
got no problem. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
What is British culture?
Ask them about LGBTQ. Ask them about child marriage. Ask them,
Cultures like it's actually multicultural.
Do you think it's a blood thing, or do you think it's a culture thing, or do you think it's a passport thing?
It's a passport more.
Oh!
So it's not cultural. It's just it's British. British. Is African. I'm British. Possibly is British. It's all different colors. It's more cosmopolitan.
Yeah, we got to change. We got to change that. There should never be multiculturalism. No multiculturalism. If you have people from other cultures, every culture has its own set of values. Some people like gays, some people hate them, some people want to throw them off rooftops, some people want to carry knives, some people are holding racial and historical grievances. What do you get in the end? What kind of a society you create? Whatever kind of society you create. Social fabric is a good word, yeah? Social fabric. Why do we call it social fabric? Why don't we call it social islands? There's one culture there, and that's what makes up our society. These are social islands, not social fabric. Fabric is something that is connected to each other. Everyone is connected to each other. Multiculturalism has failed, guys, even though I might have been a beneficiary of it at some point, but I don't have to hold the same position.
I mean, you can look at my skin, my color. I can't say Chinese, am I? So
What? He contradicted himself.
That's an interesting question. If I get a Chinese passport, does that make me Chinese?
no,
Why not?
of course not,
Why not?
because you're not Chinese.
Well, if I get a British passport, does that make me British?
Bum, bum. Yeah, see, I think it's mostly ignorance. These people, they're not the smartest people in the world.
You okay? What are you using this for?
I just
None
make
of your
YouTube
business.
Right, okay. There have been individuals in the past who've actually come in here and they don't actually display much British value. British value is about tolerance.
I disagree.
British value is not about tolerance?
I don't think we should tolerate things that are counter to the British cultural values.
No, did I say that? It's
I
about
said it's about tolerance.
Yes, it's about tolerance for other people.
Tolerance and apathy are the signs of a dying society.
No, it's completely different. You're coming from a different objective altogether. So with regards to if you antagonize people, then we'll have to report the police because if these are the people that are coming
So if
here.
I ask the wrong question.
No.
Because you just said my words. You said by the question.
If you antagonize individuals, and causing undue harassment or distress.
How do you
That's
do that?
actually
By punching them, by pissing on them, by throwing bacon on them, or just asking them questions? What do they mean? See how slippery these people are? Now, I think they're all idiots. I'm sorry. I think they're incapable of seeing holes in their own narrative. They're incapable of that. That could be because of, I don't know, low IQ, genetic problem. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it is. He's saying it's about tolerance. Would you be tolerant to it? No, I'm not going to be tolerant because you're being intolerant. Well, I'm going to say, well, you're holding views that are intolerant to my views. So see how that's a vicious cycle? It can be turned either way, which is why I'm a firm believer. You should always, which is known as Popper's tolerance paradox, the philosophical idea that a perfectly tolerant society must be intolerant of intolerance. Their values are intolerant towards blasphemers, towards apostates, towards homosexuals.
Not my definition. This is the definition of harassment.
I'm not asking anyone questions that doesn't want to do interviews.
I'm just informing you on that. Okay.
Muslim as I am.
You know what? Next time I go to London, I'm gonna have 3 or 4 security guards with me. I'm gonna go and ask them whatever question. I think I wouldn't even be allowed in. I think I should do that in Lakemba.
We're just doing interviews. Just for you two. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I mean,
See, they're okay. Who are these people who are calling the police? Why are they so scared? They're okay. Again, I think they're... See, I think it's like a failed teacher knows the quality of his students because that teacher knows that he's been feeding BS to his students. So when an outsider is going to come and ask questions to the students, they're going to give stupid answers. See, he's okay. I don't think any of the interviewees had a problem being interviewed. None of them did. All of them were okay. Only one of them got that stupid gotcha moment, like, oh no, you can't be Chinese if you get a Chinese passport, but you can be British if you get a British passport. It's like, oh, huh? That was the first light bulb moment in his head. We probably didn't think about it, but most people are okay. This is what I'm saying. Like, I am seeing a lot of Sikhs who are saying, yeah, there shouldn't be no kirpans, there should be no special privileges. A lot of Sikhs are saying that. Indian Sikhs are saying that. But the Sikh Council or the Sikh Society of Britain or something, they are giving out these statements after statements. You're like, whoa. Who made you the representative of these people? Very strange. It's very strange. But again, guys, we don't have to get into those nitty-gritties or the nuances of why these people are behaving. You just got to stand firm to your value system.
We're just asking people their thoughts on British culture.
do we have to move on or do we have to stop?
No, we've actually had a complaint from the imam in the mosque.
Really?
The imam complained?
Yep.
Oh, about what have we done?
That you're harassing the congregation here.
No, harassing. He just came out and he's quite happy to talk to
We do want to carry on. Maybe not as close to the entrance.
Why? Do you see that? There was no burden of proof. There was no demand of proof from the imam. Like he should have been harassed that, hey, you wasted police's time by leveling false accusations. See, this is what we're talking about, these DEI training modules. Something happened around 15, 20 years ago. They were saying, oh, we got to be careful when we're dealing with racial or ethnic or cultural minorities. We got to take their word. Why? He just made a false claim. We saw the whole thing. She was just asking questions. Even none of the interviewees felt threatened or harassed. This is why I say this culture of appeasement, the DEI training modules, they have to be thrown out the window. And Henry Nowak's murder has proven that. There are a lot of calls. A lot of police officers have come out and said that, you know, we were bombarded with these anti-racial discrimination, white privilege, woke training modules. And we're going to see, and this is the reason why they haven't sacked any of the police officers who attended Henry Nowak's murder scene. Only one of them has resigned voluntarily because they couldn't sack them, because he would say, hey, look at this. This is the training module. We were told to treat different racial groups differently.
Maybe slightly further away, just, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, there's just lots of people to interview.
Further down. Then you might not get people obviously hopefully not calling us again.
Obviously because you're right outside the mosque.
And?
Well, we were walking around actually. We just stopped because there were a lot of people.
outside
Yeah, and?
Tesco's or something.
It's
might be a bit different.
All right.
But it's been lovely chatting.
It has been.
I didn't feel harassed in any way.
There you go.
Okay.
We're literally going to get arrested for standing outside a mosque.
Wow. Okay, wow. Can you see that, guys? This is disgraceful. I'm going to quickly play this video of Lawrence Southern in Lakemba, a Muslim suburb of Australia. Look at this.
I'm headed to an area called Lakemba in Sydney, Australia, and it's supposed to be a very high Muslim population area, kind of like Markslow or Molenbeek in Europe. I think that in Australia, the no-go zone areas wouldn't be as bad as Europe just because they've got less mass immigration, but I've heard some pretty bizarre stories about riots, about attacks, kind of grooming gangs in Lakemba as well. So I want to see what's actually going on there. Is this actually a no-go zone? Or is it integrating perfectly? The only way I get to know these things is if I go on the ground and check it out. So let's see what we find out in Lakemba. As soon as we arrived in Lakemba, things were tense. There were heads turning, people coming out of shops to look at us and find out what we were doing. Men started yelling in Arabic across the street at us. I hadn't even been in Lakemba 10 minutes before someone had tipped off the media, and they came running to combat me and tell me this was a perfectly safe area and I had nothing and no reason to be there. Almost immediately, the media's story was proven to be wrong. As we went to go for a walk to the local mosque, a very high-ranked police officer came up to me and begged with me, do not go there.
Southern, is it?
Speaking.
Inspector Rick Ages from KMC Police.
Yep.
I've been informed that you're intending to attending the Lakemba Mosque. Is that correct?
I actually have no intentions of attending. I was just planning on walking through the streets and seeing how the culture was here.
Yes?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yep.
So where do you intend on walking to now?
I was just going to walk.
This question should never have been asked. Never. Should never have been asked. Who decided that we got to... This is why we say that no special privileges. No special privileges. The West lost its spine somewhere along the way. I think 2010s was the worst decade. Obviously, the tide has turned and we are starting to regain control in the 20s. Nobody paid attention to this. Pauline Hanson was nowhere in the polls. There were no conservative voices. Even the so-called conservatives, the Tories in Britain, they had shifted so far to the left. They were following Blair's Blairite ideology. Here in Australia, our coalition, Nationals and the Liberals, they had also shifted to the left. So because they're like, we're not going to, we're going to curb misogyny, we're going to end homophobia, we're going to end racial discrimination, and all of these things were happening. I think Australia started turning for the worst. Not necessarily this thing itself was bad. When Kevin Rudd in 2007 or 8, I think when he was elected, he apologized for the stolen generation. Now, I understand why it had to be done, and I understand, I'm not condemning that apology itself, but as I always say, societies never stay static. It should have stayed there, and we should have made commonsensical policies from there on. But no, we didn't. Societies keep evolving or devolving. They keep going in one or the other direction. They keep going in a direction. They never stay static. So we started appeasing and bending over backwards from 2007 onwards. And both sides of the political spectrum, nobody could condemn Kevin Rudd. The coalition or the Liberals couldn't condemn Kevin Rudd for making that apology. There was a bipartisan support for it, for understandable reasons. But here we are. Now, wherever we go, we have to make a declaration that we acknowledge. You go to cafes, and there's a board there that says, we acknowledge that Aboriginal people are the custodians of this land. This is overdoing it. In Victoria, they've started removing the Australian flag, and now we have the Aboriginal flag, the LGBTQ flag, and the local council flag, but not the Australian flag. I thought the Australian flag was meant to represent all of us. The Aboriginal flag represents the Aboriginal community, the LGBTQ reflects them, and what about me? My only identity at the moment is I am an immigrant Australian. I'm a patriotic Australian who puts Australia above everything. Where's my representation? So yeah, sorry, this police officer is a disgrace. I'm sorry.
Walk out and check how the mosque was.
Check where the mosque was?
Yeah. Would I not be allowed to attend if I wanted to?
I've got grave concerns that you may cause an imminent breach of the peace down there. So I'm asking you not to.
Oh yeah, mate. Don't go
Why
there.
would I cause a breach of the peace?
Because it's highly religious down there.
Isn't this
Would it be
Australia?
me causing a breach of the peace, or would it be the people there?
Well, your presence may cause them to be, be offensive and be objective to your attending there.
And so that would be them being offended by
Please,
me.
Can you not interview me?
Why? He's embarrassed. He knew that he's gonna get. He knew he's defending the indefensible.
The local community walk around here without
Well
any
done.
fear. I walk around here without any fear.
Right, but I'm a critic of Islam.
Yes.
So I can't be in this multicultural because my culture is allowed to have free speech and criticizes
I understand
Islam.
you have your own beliefs and you're allowed to have your own beliefs. I have no issue with that. I'm asking you not to attend down there because I have a fear that you may cause an imminent breach of the peace. In doing so, you may commit an offence.
Am I allowed to walk through the area?
I'm asking you not to go down the Howden Street.
You're asking me, but do I have the legal right to walk down this area?
Yes.
At this point in time, no.
I know you're walking away, but I would like to do some interviews. Would I be allowed to do interviews?
No, you're not welcome in there.
No, I'm not. No. Just to do interviews on the street. Am I allowed to?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm asking you not to.
Is it, under what law are you telling me not to go there? I'm a free citizen. I don't think she was Australian citizen, but I think still same rules apply.
I just would I be allowed? Okay? No cameras, nothing. Would I be allowed to talk to people and criticize Islam?
No.
Why?
Because I'm telling you, no, you're committing an offence. Why do you need to do it here?
Because this is a highly Islamic area.
What questions do you intend asking?
Could I not talk to people and criticize Islam?
Question? Why do you want to? Why do you want to criticize Islam? Like I said, if you're inside, I have fear that you're going to cause a breach of the peace.
No, you have fear people will be offended by me.
No, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And you're committing a breach of the peace. I've given you that warning, and if you do that, you may be breaking the law. Do you understand that?
Yep, I understand it. I perfectly understand. As far as I'm concerned, you have Sharia law here. As far as I'm concerned. We'll go to jail if we talk to people. As far as I'm concerned, they have Sharia law here. I was told if I talk to people, even if I put all my cameras away, I can't criticize Islam to people here on a.
She's not even allowed to go and ask questions, kind of like how she did in front of the East London Mosque.
Public street in Australia, in Sydney. Don't tell me you don't have no-go zones. Don't tell me this is a multicultural country. Lakemba is a monoculture, and it is one that does not allow critique of Islam. It is one that does not allow free speech because it is conquered land.
It's conquered land. Time to regain control, guys. Yeah, don't give them an inch. Every time you give them something, you lose something. Every time you make an exception for this culture or that culture, okay, we're going to be sensitive towards their religion, but we have a rich history, centuries long traditions of criticizing religions, Christianity. But for Muslims, we're gonna sweep out one of our fundamental values of free speech under the carpet just to appease them. No, don't do that. We've seen the result of it. And hardly anyone can say that it has produced good results.